wanted to share this story with you because it's really one for the men. Yes, calling all men out there. I know there are some, yeah, definitely, without a doubt. But you know, when you look back at certain things, as I say, I've been looking at a lot of old interviews recently, and I was lucky enough, as many people know, to meet some wonderful stars of the golden age of Hollywood. And many people adored, loved, and admired Tony Curtis. He was the man of the moment, wasn't he, in the 1950s? All men wanted to look like him. All girls wanted to be his girlfriend, apparently. Tony told me that himself. But he was rather shocked, you see, when he came over to London because there was something that he didn't know about and he felt he should have had a slice of the action. As ever, though, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. Lovely to have your company, whatever you're doing. And of course, welcome one and all brand new subscribers. We'll have a wave. I can just about manage it in the wind today. Yes, I know. It's not easy, you know. I know. Doing two things at home. Only women could do two things at once. That's what I've been told anyway. Yes, but men, we can only do one job at once. Are you with me, fellas? Absolutely. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I was looking at another thing also I wanted to share. And I don't know if you know this, but way back in the 70s, when it was the flavour for long hair, do you remember the sort of glam rock phase where every man had to have shoulder-length hair? Apparently, it almost put the hairdressing business out of business, as it were, because we weren't going to get our hair trimmed regularly. Similar thing happened, didn't it, during the pandemic when we couldn't get our hair cut. But looking at that particular interview of Tony Curtis, he had fabulous hair, did he not, boys? It was kind of like a mixture of Elvis, Cliff, rockabilly, everything, you know? And it was his own natural colour too, according to Tony. As you know, in later life, he was famous for wearing, shall we say, some magnificent hairpieces and then big Stetson cowboy hats, of which is the period that I got to know him most well. But what's interesting is, Tony told me in this particular interview that when he came over to London for the very first time during the 1950s, when he was married to another beautiful star, Jeanette Leigh, remember her? Oh, lovely lady. And brilliant actress too. Everybody remembers her in Psycho, don't they? Well, what happened was he went for a hair trim and it was a publicity thing. You know, he just thought, oh, okay, you know, they set this up, I'll go along and do it. Turns out, though, that when he rocks up, he sees on the sort of pricing board, which you see here, you know, Perry Como and a Tony Curtis. And he had no idea that his hairstyle was that marketable, that people were literally going in and saying, I'll have a Tony Curtis. Now, of course, being Bernie Schwartz from the Bronx, he realized there's a money-making scheme in there. So he went round various other, you know, shall we say, salons, hairdressers, whatever they were called, barbers back in the day in and around London. And he noticed that many people were doing the same thing, literally. You know, a hairdresser apparently told him, well, yeah, they just come in and say, I want to be like Tony Curtis. Now, we have to phrase this gently because it's a family channel, this, but you know, the back of the hair was shaped as a duck's. We'll leave it. Do you know what I mean? But that was the phrase. You see? Now, I'd love to know, did your partner, boyfriend, you know, whatever, did they copy the Tony Curtis hairstyle in that era? Did you go out with somebody like that? Tony said it used to take him up to an hour to style his own hair. The studio couldn't get it right, and he created an absolute phase. Apparently, when he went back to Universal Film Studios, they said, well, look, you know, yes, it's something we can do. And they promptly did, put him out doing sort of ads. They kept the money, which goes to show, you see, it doesn't matter whether you're a megastar or not, or whatever you're doing, the bottom line is stars are always looking for ways to make money. And as Tony said, as the craze fell out, he was fascinated to find that many people, you know, later stars, including Paul McCartney and John Lennon, who we met, told him that they'd absolutely copied his hairstyle. So he created something of a bit of a, shall we say, style icon, as it were, style icon status. But as they also pointed out in this interview, he never truly received a penny. And by the time he got round to doing other things like The Persuaders with Sir Roger Moore and other big movies too, well, of course, hair was a little bit in short supply. I can say that because he told me that too. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below about Tony Curtis, or was there another celebrity hairstyle that you absolutely copied? Including you ladies, were you Dusty, were you Scylla, were you Sandy, or were you more Farrah Fawcett? Or fellas, were you Farrah Fawcett too? I'll leave it there. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.